This is, as you've probably surmised or come to a conclusion in your mind tonight, there's a lot of very complicated issues in providing a reliable water supply in Southern California, here in the arid West. What's at issue in the litigation, the lawsuit, the Water Authority filed challenging Metropolitan, however, is not all that complicated. And it's really twofold. Metropolitan takes the vast majority of its costs of it acquiring water supply, what it pays to acquire water supply to sell to us and its other member agencies. It takes those water supply costs, and they don't charge them on the water supply rate. They charge them on the transportation rate. So they're misallocating their water supply costs on their transportation rate. They have 4 different rates. 3 of those rates comprise the transportation rate, and they're taking 80% or more of their water supply costs and misallocating and charging them on the transportation rate. Why does that matter to us here in San Diego County? We, the Water Authority, not only purchase water from Metropolitan, and we pay both the water supply and the transportation rate when we purchase water from Metropolitan, but we also buy transportation-only services from Metropolitan to transport our supplies from the Imperial Valley, the IID water transfer supplies, the canal line supplies. And so we go to Metropolitan and say, we need a transportation rate for you to convey that water from the Colorado River to us here in San Diego County. And Metropolitan has inflated the rate it charges us, and has a consequence of subsidizing or lowering the actual cost of the water supply that Metropolitan charges all of its member agencies. The impact on our ratepayers here in San Diego County, again, from about $1.3 billion to $2.1 billion over the next 45 years. This is an attempt to visually depict what Metropolitan is doing in its rate structure that we disagree with, that we're challenging in court. If you look at this map of California, the first system I'm going to show you is the state water project system. The California Aqueduct, a 500-plus mile aqueduct that conveys water from Northern California to us here in Southern California, and Lake Oroville, the dam at Lake Oroville, all of those facilities referred to as the state water project, 100% of that is owned, operated, and maintained by the state of California. The Metropolitan Water District does not own 1 cubic inch of concrete in the state water project system. What Metropolitan owns is what's shown here in the next system. They own the Colorado River Aqueduct and a system of pipelines and other facilities within that net service territory, roughly outlined in purple on the screen, is what Metropolitan owns. And just like Metropolitan doesn't own any of the state water project, the Water Authority does not own any of the Met water facilities. Met owns and operates it. We don't own any of that. The Water Authority, in turn, as Chair Hogan showed you earlier, we build, own, maintain, and pay for the water supply infrastructure, the major regional water supply infrastructure here in San Diego County. What's wrong with the Met rate structure? Met is charging us to use its facilities. It's adding the costs of most of this onto the use of their facilities. They're treating these facilities in the state water project as if they owned them, and they're charging us on that basis. And that is what's afoul of California law. As a public water agency, the Water Authority is only allowed to charge you for a service the cost of providing that service. We're not a profit organization. We're a public organization. Metropolitan, by law, cannot charge us more than the actual cost of that transportation for transporting that water. But what they're doing is they're taking 80% of the cost of this water supply, which is delivered to them right down here in this corner. They're charging that water supply cost to the use of their facilities, and that is not in conformance with California law. That's really what's at dispute, and it has a profound impact on us as ratepayers in San Diego County. We have said going forward that as Metropolitan has a very large fixed expense in Metropolitan, $575 million annual payment to the state water project for that water supply. They have a contract for a water supply. We purchase some of that water from Metropolitan. We have argued for years that Metropolitan, as it makes new commitments for more costs of fixing the Bay Delta, that they should get firm water supply contracts, firm contractual commitments from its 26 member agencies, we're one of those 26, to back up that commitment, that very long-term commitment to the state. Metropolitan's current state water project contract runs through 2035. Again, this year, their annual cost this year is $575 million. So it's a huge fixed cost at Metropolitan, big mortgage payment. Metropolitan has not pursued getting financial commitments from its 26 member agencies to back up that commitment nor a new, bigger, multi-billion-dollar commitment that they'll be asked to make to fix the Bay Delta, to build new water conveyance through the Bay Delta. I want to share with you a quote. In August of last year, the Metropolitan Water District was here, just a couple of miles down the road, doing a public forum on a long-term water supply plan they call the Integrated Resources Plan. This is Metropolitan's very long-term water resource strategy. And the general manager of Metropolitan was asked, hey, you've got this existing fixed commitment to the state water project, you're considering taking on billions of more of commitment. Wouldn't it make sense for you to get contracts with your member agencies to pay for that commitment? And this was the answer that he gave.
Those are board members have said, we're not really sure about that. Those are member agencies have said, no thanks, but no thanks, we prefer this is the way it is. Should people make those firm commitments come in the future? So far, the member agencies have opted not to. They prefer it the way it is.
The message is they prefer it the way that it is, so that raises the question, how is the way that it is? This is the way that it is. And if you look at this screen, this is the money in dispute this year in the rate litigation the Water Authority's filed against the Metropolitan Water District. That has the effect of overcharging Water Authority and our ratepayers by $31 million in this year. But because revenues and expenses at Metropolitan is a zero-sum game. What does that mean? That means Metropolitan raises exactly the amount of money it needs to pay its bills. To the extent that we are being overcharged by $31 million, the other 25 member agencies and each and every one of the other 25 member agencies is benefiting by reduced water supply charges that they're paying to Metropolitan. And so the slide up on the screen shows the proportion for each of those 25 other agencies, the amount in millions of dollars that they're benefiting this year. So that raises a question. The Metropolitan Water District has a board of directors, a 37-member board of directors, and votes are taken in that board room in Los Angeles. And when changes to the status quo are proposed, how do you think the other 25 member agencies representatives voted there? Well, they vote understandably, and this is life, in their own financial interests of their ratepayers in their districts. And this is why in our society, when you have a dispute like this, where we as the minority are being aggrieved, there's two places we could go to address this issue. One is the California State Legislature, and the other, of course, that any of us have in a situation like this is the courts. And this is why last summer, our board of directors voted unanimously to file suit against the Metropolitan Water District. It was not a decision taken lightly by our board. It was taken after 2 years of significant effort to attempt to persuade the Metropolitan Board to change its rate structure to conform with California law. But as you can see, there's reasons why they were disinclined to do so. This is also the way that it is at Metropolitan. These are those same 26 member agencies. Probably won't take you long to find the Water Authority on this slide. This shows what? This shows kind of importantly, this first red line, out of the 26 member agencies, 15 of them purchase less than 2% of Metropolitan's water. And because Metropolitan raises the vast majority of its revenues from the sale of water, they also pay less than 2% of Metropolitan's bills. So if you take that line up to 5%, 20 of the 26 member agencies don't buy 5% of Met's water, pay 5% of Met's bills. So what's the point there? Those agencies largely don't have what? They don't have a lot of skin in the game, which means that when votes are being cast to spend a lot of money at Metropolitan, the consequences for many of the member agencies is not terribly meaningful. It is terribly meaningful to the one agency that pays 25 cents out of every dollar Metropolitan spends comes from ratepayers here in San Diego County. So it gives you a perspective of the challenges that our directors that we send from our board of directors who serve on the Metropolitan Board of Directors, the challenges they face with their peers on that board, and why we are in court to seek justice. Status of the rate challenge, that rate case was moved out of Southern California. It is in Superior Court in San Francisco. It has been designated, which is very important, a complex case, which means that a single judge has been assigned to consider all motions and the trial, and any other related issues that may become before the court will come before that same judge, Judge Kramer in San Francisco. We are, in essence, trading documents right now in this case, and we expect we'll be seeing a decision at the Superior Court level sometime in early first or second quarter of the next calendar year, 2012. So it'll be a few months yet before we find out what the decision in the Superior Court is. And rest assured, given the financial stakes at dispute in the case, that whichever party is not the victor in that case in Superior Court will be appealing the case. And so we expect we'll be in the court system on this case for 3, 4, perhaps 5 years before the case is finally and completely adjudicated. Obviously, a critical issue for our region. There's a lot at stake for us. We need a reliable water supply from Metropolitan. We also need it to be equitably priced and equitable for all of Metropolitan's member agencies. We need a financially sustainable Metropolitan, and we have a whole host of other issues and concerns about Met's rates and revenue system that is largely dependent on water sales that are sharply declining, with a whole host of very large fixed obligations and expenses at Metropolitan. And with that, we would all be happy to answer any questions you all may have.